Coach, you drafted 3 offensive linemen so far, including one at the very top there in Troy Fautano. All of them love football, all of them passionate, all of them real physical. Was continuing to address the offensive line a big key for you guys heading into this draft?
We just want to roll people, man, to be honest with you guys. You know, we got some backs that we like. We've got a good offensive line. We took Broderick Jones a year ago. This draft pool or class we thought was really loaded with some top-end offensive line talent, and we just wanted to draw from that well.
Alrighty, Steeler Nation, welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia. I won't be too long in the intro. You know why I'm wearing the headphones. When I'm wearing the headphones means I've got a special guest on, and none better than my good mate, Bmac, Bryant McFadden. What's going on, mate? How are you? Thank you for joining the show, dude. I really appreciate it, man. What's going on?
Mark, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, big time. We've been trying to tee this up since last year and back and forth on Twitter. I know you're a busy guy. You're doing things with CBS. You're doing things with All Things Covered. What about that? In the next few, are you going to start doing more podcasts with Pat P in the next few weeks when training camp starts to ramp up?
Yeah. You know, of course, you know, with his schedule, my schedule, just trying to time everything up accordingly. But he really enjoy it. I enjoy it as well. It's a different form of, you know, being involved in the media than what normally I do. You know what I mean? As you know, you get a chance to have different conversations compared to the norm. And most of the time they're entertaining, very, very informative as well. So he's enjoying it. And of course, I'm enjoying it. So we're trying to, you know, see what we can coordinate moving forward.
Yeah, big time. I like the one you did with we had Troy there, number Troy 43 on the episode. That was kind of cool for an hour or so. I'll be honest, like I didn't watch the All Things Covered until it was Pat P and you guys together as two Steelers. Like when you started talking more Steelers football, that's when I really started to get into it. I was really excited. But I appreciate your time on the podcast and here for about half an hour or so. I do want to start off though on one controversial thing, and then I want to go into a bit like your career and just have a bit of fun talking Super Bowls and how you have 2 rings and stuff like that. But I want to talk about the tweet that you put out a few days ago. This one here, Omar's working, Steelers very close to landing a significant playmaker. I'm not overly worried about the playmaker. I just want to see what the reception of how many people text you or retweeted you or I don't know, anything. How many people was in your inbox? They must have been going crazy.
Man, it was unbelievable. I mean, just from X. I keep calling X Twitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just from X alone. Man, my phone was shaking like a massage chair.
Yeah.
It would just and you know, there are a lot of people that were excited just like I was. And the thing, let me go back, okay? So Mark, you know, the reason why I did that, which now if I can go back in time, I wouldn't have done it, was because through a reliable source that I've been knowing for quite some time that's involved in a lot of things, moves that happening in the NFL, kind of share some insight with what was kind of circulating at the time. Now, clearly nothing of that level has happened. And based on the information I received, it was like, yo, something seems to be in the works, just getting you fired up, just letting you know. And this was the same person that told me about the Justin Fields move like 2 weeks before it happened. You know what I mean? This is the same person who told me about other moves in the National Football League, Stephon Diggs and stuff like that, potentially getting moved somewhere, not knowing it was going to be Houston, but moved somewhere. So, you know, he shared that with me because he's a Steeler fan. I'm a Steeler fan also. And I was like, you know what, man, I want to let it be known also. And if you look at my tweet, I said, Omar is working, potentially very close to signing a significant playmaker. Stay tuned. I said very close. I didn't say it was going to happen today. It was going to happen tomorrow. I just said very close. Now, a lot of things have come out since then, right? We've heard that Pittsburgh was talking to Seattle. I didn't say that, but other media outlets, other insiders said that they were talking to Seattle. We've heard that Pittsburgh was talking to San Francisco. Heck, we even heard those rumors circulate during the draft weekend. So clearly there was some discussions, conversations that were being made. And at the time I received the information I received, who knows, maybe those conversations seem to be almost locked and loaded. and then something might have flatlined. I don't know. And I was wrong for saying the tweet, number one. But one thing I can't just accept, and that's the thing too on Twitter, as I see now, there are so many people that I think they kind of, I don't want to say emotionally driven, but sometimes they allow their emotions to drive certain tweets, right? And a lot of people are saying, oh, you're such a liar. What type of First and foremost, Mark, last time I checked, right, I played for the organization, the same organization that those fans love, right? The same organization you love. I played for them. They drafted me. We won a lot of ball games together while I was there that the fans cheered for, and I'm so appreciative of that. Heck, we won 2 sticky Lombardis, right? I was a part of those teams. So why would a fan, and I'm not, just singling anyone out. I'm just talking, with some people. Everyone didn't give me that type of reception, but some did. Why would they think they're more invested in the organization than me? Like, this is the same organization that I still have relationships with, tied into with. On my podcast, I've had Mike Tomlin on the podcast multiple times. I've had Omar on the podcast as well. Some Steeler greats, Hall of Famers, current players. So clearly I have a real unique, authentic relationship still with the organization. Every year, I'm always predicting the Steelers to win a division. You can call me a homer or whatever the case may be. Yes, I am biased because they drafted me and we won Super Bowls together. That's just who I am. The same thing, the same love I have for Florida State, I have for Pittsburgh. So why would someone think I just all of a sudden just came out with this story just to get clicks? That doesn't make any sense.
I think Steeler Nation can be emotional and they can overreact to anything.
That doesn't make any sense. And then for people that are still, tweeting me, it's almost like, and I did do a Spaces with Steeler Nation, their account. They kind of address it, you know what I mean? But there's still people tweeting me and like, well, wait, the Scotty Miller signing, was this the significant signing? How dare you? And this and that. I can't believe you would make up a story. Like, what do I receive by making up something like that?
You know what? You guys talk about the welcome to the NFL moment. That might have been the welcome to the internet moment. I don't know.
Facts. For me, no question. Like that. And people can get a little disrespectful and rude. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to go back and forth because I can't answer everyone's question in regards to that tweet. So that's why I did the Spaces. But now it's like, come on, man. But and then I'm like, listen, common sense here. I played for the same organization you cheer for. You cheer for, you root for. I was out there playing, blood, sweat, and tears, like leaving it all on the line, like going to war, battling to be able to win so you guys can continue to cheer, which I'm super appreciative of. But for Steeler fans, I'm not saying all Steeler fans, no question. But for some, they feel like, oh yeah, he just want to make up this story for clickbait. I've been on X for a long, long time. I never once had these type of tweets where I'm just throwing things to try to gain some type of reaction or followers or stuff like that. That's not who I am. I love talking about the game. That's what I do. I love, entertaining via talking about the game, being informative, educated, the same way you guys talk about the game amongst your friends, amongst, the barbershop or wherever it is, the bars. That's what I love doing. So I, like I said, Mark, I admit I should have kept that to myself because clearly it wasn't as concrete as I thought. But that doesn't mean something is not going to happen. But for not most fans, but for some fans, just because it didn't happen within the next 30 minutes or hour, the next day, and clearly the next week or so, oh, he's making up lies and he can't go back to Pittsburgh and this and that. Man, I helped win 2 sticky Lombardis in the building. What are we talking about? Like what? Like really? Like I got 2 of them back here. These 2 right here. 05, my rookie year, and 08, my 4th year. Like a story franchise, no question, with a great fan base. But there's some fans that kind of as I stated, it was almost like their emotions got the most of them. Like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you, Bmac. You're such a liar. You're looking for clicks and you're looking for followers and you're capping and stop that, man. Like I said, I admit where I was wrong at, but one thing I wasn't wrong, I didn't make up a story just to put out there. There was some information that I actually received that I thought would, and I said, working on. So my thing is this, Mark, and I'll let you take it. Clearly, as Omar has stated, conversations were made with other organizations. I'll ask you this question, Mark. Is that true or false from what you've heard?
From my perspective as a fan watching the Steelers and Omar Khan, conversation probably happen every day. Every day in the draft.
We've heard Omar. I know Omar was on the Pat McAfee show, and he stated there's nothing close to getting done, but we've had conversations.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you had conversations, clearly you're trying to find a way to get something done, right? And then the last thing I'll say is it came out that the Steelers and the Seahawks were talking in regards to DK Metcalf. Did you hear that also?
I certainly did, yeah. And there was something to do with a post
first June 1st designation, I think, with his contract before anything can get done. So clearly conversations were being made during that with that organization. So that's it. That's what it is. But you can't lose no sleep. There's nothing to lose any sleep about. But you
want to move on. We've got a saying here in Australia, she'll be right. You just move on. Like when I saw the tweet, and I was like, I haven't met you in person, but you're a good bloke from what I see on the field, what I see on the podcast and CBS and whatnot. I'm like, Bmac wouldn't tweet that for likes or shares or the clickbait. It didn't make any sense. And that's what I didn't want. Steel Nation's worldwide. They're everywhere. They're Germany, England, Australia, all over the shop, America. I didn't want Steel Nation to go after you, but unfortunately, that's how bad the internet can be. The internet is the internet. They go crazy. I'm sure there'll be some beat reporter out there will find this podcast and clip what you just said then, because that's just the way how it works. So I appreciate, man, your answer on that. I think it's fully honest, and I don't think you did anything wrong. I think you just tweeted out what you wanted to tell people what happened about the situation. It was a chance, or something could still happen. We don't know. And people, you're right. They just wanted something to happen in the next 30 minutes. That's the kind of generation or it's the kind of moment we live in now. It's like we see the red arrow, the red tick. We're like, oh, what's going on next? What's next? So I thought it was funny. Like I know you've probably been through like too many messages and all these kind of things, and over just retweets and shares everywhere. I feel bad because that would have been so much. I would just want to put my phone away. Did you put your phone away after a while?
Oh, no. It was a few I was entertaining because, for me, it's nothing to be serious about. For me, it's nothing to be mad about. You know what I mean? Because I have a life that I have to be mindful of and be respectful of as well. And for those who really came at me a disrespectful way, it is what it is. I don't take it with a grain of salt. I think we just have to understand that however you feel, make sure you utilize and exercise respect first and foremost. You know what I mean? Because I would say this all the time. We have the best fans in professional sports. Like you out in, overseas, and we have other fans in different places across the globe, and they're so authentic and they're so loyal. And I joked about it. I said, man, if I didn't know any better, they treated me like I played for the Browns.
Oh boy.
Like I played for the Browns, but it's just, I'm the type of dude, I don't take offense to none of that type stuff, because people got for real problems in the world, right? You know what I mean? So if someone want to attack me for something that I heard, it is what it is. But like I said, one thing I got to speak up on, Mark, is that I didn't make it up just to make it up. No, come on, man. I played for the organization you guys cheer for. Like, for real, I'm super invested in the organization, just like the fans are invested. That's why I stated, I told someone on Twitter, like, why would you think, you're more invested in the Pittsburgh Steelers than I am? Like, I wouldn't come at you that way, but I'm saying it was like people are acting like I have no dog in the race. Like when Pittsburgh win, I still feel like I win.
Yeah, it's your team. You're drafted by them. You won 2 Super Bowls. I do want to ask you a few questions about the Super Bowls and like, your legacy as a Steeler. And I thought about this the other day. What does it feel like having 2 Super Bowl rings and the Bengals have 0? How does that make you feel? It makes me feel fantastic. Like their franchise has 0 and you have 2.
It makes me feel great. I'm super thankful because the first one I won my rookie year, that's the only thing I knew. I thought we were supposed to go to the Super Bowl every year. Like, I thought it was like, this is what we do. I didn't know how hard it was to get to the Super Bowl. Forget that, Mark. I didn't know how hard it was to get to the playoffs. I didn't know that's a hard thing, until I had discussions with some of my homeboys who play for other organizations. They're like, man, you're so lucky. Man, you got to the playoffs, man. You made it to the Super Bowl. I'm like, lucky. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. But then as you get older in the league, it is hard. It's hard. So I'm happy and so blessed that I was drafted by an organization that had a sense of prestige already in place. Legendary people who've been a part of that organization, either as players or, in the front office, allowed me to be a part of that same tradition. And we were able to win 2 Super Bowls. And you talked about Cincinnati not having none. And, for us, my rookie year, we won. That was the 5th one we won for the organization. And because of the one we won my rookie year, we were able to do something that never was done before, which was winning the first organization to win 6 Lombardis. You know what I mean? So if we don't win the 5th, we don't get to the 6th. Right. And I'm happy that I was a part of those 2 teams, because the significance with those 2 Super Bowl wins will forever be known in Steeler history and will forever be known in NFL history. So that was dope. That was dope as well. And with Cincinnati, no question. Anytime you can kick dirt on the division foe, do it. I'll say this though, Mark. I'm happy and so thankful that I have 2, but I still think about the one that I didn't get.
We did
against Green Bay.
Yep.
That one.
Can I ask you a side question on that? A lot of fans always talk about and I don't want you throwing him under the bus, because I'm sure the media will go maybe grab this again, but they always talk about the Rashad Mendenhall fumble. What else do you think maybe went wrong in that game? Was there a few things inside the game that didn't go our way on defense, or certain plays here and there that
there were a lot of moments in that ball game that led to us losing? And shouts out to Rashad Mendenhall. I know some months ago he spoke about some of the things he's been through since that happened. And one play does not decide the ball game. You know what I mean? We hear that all the time. I know it's cliche, but it's legit. It's the truth. And that fumble was not the reason why we lost that ball game. There are so many things that happened before Rashad in that play that had us in position to lose. Number one, let's talk about the slow start we got off to on both sides of the football. We were sleeping at the wheel for the first half. And you're playing against a team that had a Hall of Fame quarterback, outstanding wide receivers, very, very opportunistic defense, well-coached team. You gave them a chance to get out in the race first. We were still in the blocks. They were already running. And then we tried to reel them in. We didn't have enough. We didn't have enough gas. So that's one that I think about a lot, that really not necessarily put a cloud over the 2 that I won, but it's like, I got 2, but I felt like I should have had 3.
Is that just you being the natural competitor and the fire inside you that you still think about that 3rd one? Like, because you seem really excited about 2, and it's fantastic. But
losing sucks, and losing a Super Bowl sucks even more. And for me, Mark, and for most of us that were in that game, we never experienced losing the Super Bowl before. Because the previous 2 times we played in the big game, we won, right? So it was like every time we go to the Super Bowl, our mindset is like winning. That's what we do. We win. And we fought back. And that's the thing that I do like about that team, man, because we played against a real good team that was clicking on all cylinders, and we spotted them some points, but we found a way to get back to that ball game in the second half. It just, like I said, ran out of gas. But that was a moment that you really reflect on, and when you realize, I know for me, how devastating losing could be when you give it your all.
Like, I want to go back if I can. Oh, sorry, I just cut you off. Sorry.
No, I know. Well, last thing I was going to say, someone told me I get a chance to go to a Super Bowl as a player, get all the perks, the playoffs, the attention, but you're going to lose. I wouldn't want to go.
Yeah, that is the rough part. They always forget about the second team, right? We only talk about the first team. We never talk about the second one.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to the Colts game. when it was the AFC Championship game with the fumble and your feeling then, and then also you had 2 big plays against, I think it was Marvin Harrison? No, am I wrong?
Reggie Wayne.
Oh, my bad. Reggie Wayne. My apologies. Yeah. So you had 2. So what was that feeling when you thought you guys had that, like on the sideline, you see, Big Ben and the bus run the ball in, next minute, it could be all over.
Yeah, that actually was the second round because the AFC conference game was against Denver in Denver. So that was the second round. But to answer your question, Mark, you remember we played Indy in the regular season and they just blew us out on Monday night. And I remember Bill Cowher told us that, we will be in the same locker room in January, and we all believed him. We were like, no question. So when we got a chance to get back there in the playoffs, we were like, this is revenge. Like, this is revenge season. We're in the midst of it, and let's deliver. Let's go out and go get it. And we came out with a fury. You remember that game? We came out throwing the football. They thought offensively we would run it. We came out throwing it. Defense was super aggressive. Coach LeBeau had a great game plan for Peyton Manning and the Hall of Famers he had surrounded him. We just got out to a good start. And as you talked about that final drive offensively for us, we knew Jerome was our closer, so we knew he was going to close the deal for us. So most of us on the defensive side that were on the sideline, we weren't watching. We were too busy heckling their fans and talking crazy to their fans because they were just giving us a mouthful the last time we were there during the regular season. So we were just talking crazy to their fans. They cussing us out. We going back and forth. And all of a sudden, we just heard their fans go up in a roar. Yeah, they cheering. So we're like, why are they cheering for our touchdown? Because we really thought we were going to score. We're like, why are they cheering for our touchdown? And we look back, we see Nick Harper running with the football. So mind you, Mark, it's almost like the last thing we saw on the field was our offense in the huddle, pretty much in goal line formation on the 3-yard line. We know we're going to run it. So turning around, talking to the fans. Then we look back on the field again. We see Nick Harper's running with the football. And we're like, oh, shoot. Then we're like, oh, is he going to score? Like, is he going to score? So now Ben, the immaculate tackle, to say the least, get him down. And we're like, oh, all we heard was defense, you're up. Defense, you're up. We're on the field. And Coach LeBeau was in a shock. And I remember James Ferrier, who was our captain, he was like, Dickie, give us a call. Come on. Like, we're waiting. Coach LeBeau was like in a shock. He's like, give us a call. Come on, give us a call. And I was like, oh. And I thought to myself, when we're in a huddle, I said, I already know where he's going in regards to Peyton. I said, I'm the only rookie on the football field between 2 teams. I'm the only rookie on the football field. They got to score. They got to find a way to get into field goal range. I know where he's going, and I know I'm going to get it. That's all I was thinking about. And I said, I just don't want to be the reason why we don't advance and win this ball game. And, I was fortunate, man, to make those plays because if I don't, you think about the legacies that would have really either been halted or just continue to add to their resumes. Indy at that time was one of the best teams in the league. I really felt like they could have won it all.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the best teams to not win a championship, better yet, not play for a championship, because you look at their offense, they were 13-3. Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer on the offense. The same can be said, they had a few on the defensive side. Hall of Fame head coach. Peyton Manning was reeling. But for us, when you talk about our Hall of Famers, right, if we don't find a way to win that ball game, Jerome doesn't go into the hall with the ring.
Yep. Yeah, it was a crazy time, and that was when I was a fan. I must have been, I don't know, maybe 16, 17. So I started watching in 2002, but that was like 2006, right?
That was 2006, yep.
Yeah, so I was like, must have been, I think, 16 years of age. I want to go back to that play. So were you like, as a football player, we never get these too many insights because they're always feeding you really BS questions. But I want to get how are you feeling at that stage when you're going one-on-one and you see the ball coming your way? What do you even think in that situation, or do you just act and go back to training?
Honestly, I know people say this a lot, but I'm being super honest. I didn't hear nothing. It was like pre-snap alignment. I'm in my in my spot on the football field, getting ready for my coverage. We're in man-to-man. And like I said, I kind of anticipated Peyton coming my way. I'm on Marvin Harrison. We was in man-to-man. We were sending pressure. And instantly Peyton picked it out. And when I was backpedaling, when I turned and when I saw the ball coming, it slowed down from my viewpoint and my ears cut off. I didn't hear anything. Right. It was like I'm super honest right now. And the thing about this is like, you know, when you watch movies, you watch sporting movies, football movies, you see it from a camera angle as it's slowing down. That's how it actually happened in freaking real life. I'm not lying. In real life. And it slowed down. I'm like, oh, shoot, the ball is coming. And then I go up and Reggie goes up. And one thing about Reggie, he was such a competitor. While we were going down to the turf, he was still trying to catch it. So then if you see, I kicked my leg up because I was just trying to get something in way of him trying to grab the football. And then when I finally got up is when the noise came back. So it was silent for about, it felt like 5 seconds. And then the next one, which I really, if I could have got.
Didn't you pick it off? When you're close to picking it off?
The ground helped me. I mean, the ground ended up hitting the ball. That's what happened. I couldn't get my hands on it. And that's the first thing I thought about. I said, oh, great. I said, I had opportunity to really become the hero and get a pick to end the game. We were done. But then, of course, we like the field. It was a makeable field goal. So that's why I was like, man, if they make this field goal and they tie the game, Mark, they go into overtime with all the momentum.
So much. They have a big chance to win.
A great chance to win, man.
Yeah.
Like and you remember back then, the overtime was first team to score anything.
Yep.
Like if they got the ball first and they kick a field goal, they win. We don't get. You remember that's how the overtime rules were then. So you know, I was just happy. Like I said, I was just happy I was accountable and I was able to do what I was supposed to do. I was happy that they missed the field goal, and man, when that happened, you couldn't tell us we weren't winning the Super Bowl.
Like so from that moment, you're just entirely checked in. Like you've survived that crazy moment, and then your next mission is going. You said and then from memory too, right? So it was Denver, wasn't it? You said Denver.
Yeah,
next?
yeah. It was that game was over before we played Denver. When we on the plane back to Pittsburgh from Indy, it was like, man, who we playing? Who are we playing in the Super Bowl? And whoever we playing, Mark, it doesn't matter. We're winning. Like we had so much confidence. We didn't want the season to end. It was like, could we play next week after the Super Bowl and let's just go undefeated? Like we felt like that was our mindset.
Was that because I'm just that was the moment when Peasy said they shot me in Denver, right? The famous NFL film.
Yeah, when we went back. Yep.
How is that like adrenaline moment feeling? That must be like cloud freaking Steeler 9 up there.
Hey, yeah. So we had a team that was wired different than most teams. We always look for ways to be motivated, like extra ways. Like we just wanted to look for ways to be pissed off, to want to slap somebody in the mouth for no reason. And when Peasy said that in Indy in the locker room when we knew we were going to Denver, and he's like, man, last time I was in Denver, man, they shot me in Denver. So we all was like, man, they shot our guy in Denver, man, our dog, man. Let's go get it. Let's go ride. Like, now, mind you, whoever shot Peasy had nothing to do with the Denver Broncos. But it was like the Broncos had something to do with him getting shot. So we were like, it was personal. It was like, man, forget that. Yeah. And I wasn't even part of the Steelers when it happened. But I felt like, man, no question. You got a problem with them. We all got a problem with them. Let's go. Who ride? We ride. And when we went into Denver, we were looking for an issue, which is like, it was personal. Man, y'all shot Peasy. All of y'all shot Peasy. Yes. Jake, the Snake Plumber, everybody. Y'all shot Peasy, and we coming for revenge.
I like too when Bill Cowher, it's a great moment in NFL films. It's when he says, "And now will you be quiet now, Peasy?" You know what I mean? It's just the whole thing of it is just it's fantastic, right? And that's because I started following the Steelers when it was 2002. It was based off the colors alone. And I want to say too, you're the first player in person that's been on the show, and I've played when I was younger in Madden. Isn't that crazy? Do you find that crazy? Like you're in Madden. Have you ever played Madden as yourself or the Steelers and think how weird that?
I've done it 1,000 times. Even when they used to have the college football game out, I would play with myself as well. But yeah, it is you kind of making me feel old, Mark.
No, I'm 34 before. I just think like going back when I was like 17, I didn't think I'd have a podcast, nor did I think I'd have Bryant McFadden and Bmac on my show that I played Madden with. I don't know. I just think it's kind of crazy. I think it's cool.
Okay.
I know you're limited with time, so maybe the next 5 or 10 minutes. I do want to get into one more big Super Bowl moment, and then we'll go to some questions, and I want to show you one more question about the Kangaroos. But I really want to talk about the Debo. I think you've been asked this question a million times, but this to me is the ultimate Steelers play of all time. Like Debo's 99-yard. Where were you, and what was your perception and feeling of that play when he ran it back 99 yards?
I wasn't in that formation defensively. I was on the sideline. And I remember the call. We were in like a Max Peel Blitz Zero type situation where we were sending everyone. It was like pressure, like the ball got to come out. And if you recall, it was like on a 2-yard line, right?
Yep.
And Debo, of course, you've heard this story before. Debo wasn't supposed to be where he was. He was supposed to blitz. And I had an opportunity to talk to Kurt Warner about that on the podcast, and he knew Debo was coming. So he actually thought, I just gotta throw the ball at where it's supposed to be. It's a touchdown because there's no one going to be there because they were running a pick route. You know what I mean? Similar to what Seattle tried to run against New England when Malcolm Butler picked it off. And that's why you don't see that happen often, because it puts the defender in a tough situation to try to fight through traffic to make a play. And it's harder when the ball's on the 2-yard line. So when that happened, and that was right before halftime, we were like, okay, worst case scenario for us, worst case scenario for them, they kick the field goal, can't give up touchdown. So we were already like thinking like, okay, they probably gonna get a field goal because they're on the 2-yard line, but they can't score. They score, they go into halftime with all the momentum, and they were receiving the ball after halftime, which would have been great. So of course, LeBeau brings pressure because he wants to try to get the ball out of Kurt Warner's hands fast. And Debo, just being the great player that he is, his antennas went off and said, you know what? If I blitz, I'm probably not going to get there because I know he's the ball coming out. So I'm going to just fall back and just try to see if I can help in coverage, which was the best thing that Debo could have ever done. I think that was the most monumental play in his career. And it's hard to say that because he's had so many of them. But for him, that cemented him in NFL history, Steelers history, because of his instincts of being disobedient and not doing what he was supposed to do, basically, being undisciplined. And when he caught it, it was like, yeah, right? We were just happy that he caught it because he took 3 points off the board, worst case scenario for Arizona. But then when he got in stride, it was like, oh, shoot, now we need you to score. Because when he got to like the 40-yard line close to midfield, it was like, bruh, all right, man, if you want to be great, you got to be great. Don't just pick it off. See if you can put points on the scoreboard for us because we needed it, right? And, man, the guys was out, the cavalry was in front of him looking for blockers. And I'm just so happy that no one blocked anybody in the back. Because how many times have you seen on a return by defender a flag? Think about that. How many times have you seen that? Oh, yes. So I was just happy that everyone did everything within the rules in the end zone. Larry Fitzgerald was almost there. 2 more steps, he probably would have made a tackle. So when that happened, it was like, bruh, that was a 10-point swing. They went from having 3 points to not getting no points, then we scoring 7.
Yep.
We scored 7, and that was huge because, like I said, in the second half, they started to try to get things rolling. And for us, it was just whew, and that play will forever go down in history, bro. When you think about not just the best plays, but Super Bowl plays or just regular season plays, playoff plays, you got to have that in the conversation.
It's even sports plays. Everyone knows Debo running back 99 yards. He honest to goodness, I know you're here on the podcast right now, but Debo's my favorite player. I just love the way he played the game, how he just his whole mentality about everything. How was the locker room after that situation? Everyone fired up?
Oh man, we were still kind of shocked. Like, man, what just happened?
What happened?
Debo was sucking air, sucking wind. He was tired, but we were just like, oh, man, what? Like it was a first half walk-off touchdown going into halftime. It was like we had to come down back to reality, like, bruh, like, and we needed that. We really needed that because if They kick a field goal, like I said, they had so much momentum. You know, that just putting points on the scoreboard. You know how it is, Mark. You watch a lot of football in your life. You know, usually when a team score right before halftime and they're getting the ball back after halftime, right out of halftime, that's momentum.
Yeah, and if they score as well again, then you're in big trouble again. You can down by more points. So the fact that Debo went all the way back for 99 yards and said, you know, we got 7.
Huge, right? Huge.
He's unreal. All right, I know you're here for a little minute. I want to get your thoughts on this question. I'm going to replay it back. I don't know if you remember it 7 months ago. I'm going to play this with you and Pat P talking about the 2 kangaroos or James Debo Harrison after he was gassed. I don't know if you remember seeing this, but I got this clip from your show. So everyone out there in Still Nation Australia, go check out All Things Covered. Here's a clip from Bmac and Pat P answering the question about 2 kangaroos. Here we go.
All right. Next question coming from Steelers Nation Australia. Shouts out to all our fans in Australia. Pat P, good day, mate.
Hey, good day,
Would you rather fight 2 male kangaroos or James Debo Harrison? That's an Australian-like question.
After his 99-yard interception, I probably would go with 2 kangaroos.
I'm gonna fight 2 kangaroos as well. I don't know how strong a kangaroo is. And with me not knowing how strong a kangaroo is, I think I might have a shot.
Hey man, that doggone James, man, he's different, man. He's from another planet, first and foremost.
Man, I think I might fight two kangaroos because I don't know.
Like,
I don't know how strong they are. I know they're strong.
Going to kind of know when enough is enough. Like James not going to know enough is enough.
And you know, I think I kind of can maneuver around. I don't know how quick their short area of quickness is for a kangaroo. I don't know what they got going on. I feel like I can kind of scoop and score with a kangaroo, get a scoop.
Because you know the kangaroo's gonna pause a little bit. They trying to figure you out as well.
Yeah.
James.
Oh, they say, and this was a kicker after his 100-yard interception.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. Nah, I ain't trying to see James.
I'm right there with you. Okay, that's a good question. Shouts out to our fans, like I said, in Australia.
Do you still feel the same way about scoop and scoring on a kangaroo? I love that, by the way.
And you said 2, right? 2 kangaroos?
Yeah, 2 male kangaroos, or you got to face James Debo Harrison after he did the 99 yards.
Let me ask you this question, Mark. And, you know, I think you would know better than me. What's the significance in male kangaroos compared to female?
Have you never seen a male kangaroo? Like a picture?
I didn't know what it was. I don't know if it was a female or male.
They're jacked. Like the male kangaroos, they call them big reds. They're absolutely jacked. Like they're just all muscle. Like think like if Debo was a kangaroo, that'd be the kangaroo.
Wow.
And like they're full of muscle. They're full of testosterone. They can't walk backwards, so they sit on their tail. They kick you with their feet. They grab you with their claws and they can rip your guts out. Like out in the wild, like in the outback, right? Not near my local shops. But like those kind of kangaroos are pretty aggressive. There's been some farmers who have had their dogs in a headlock by a kangaroo. There's been some farmers who have had to fight. Yeah, there's videos out there. Kangaroos who have fought farmers, stuff like that. So facing 2 male kangaroos who want to fight you and beat you, or James Debo Harrison after his, because you get a bit of advantage because he's gassed, right?
He's gassed.
So
I didn't know that. I didn't know that insight about kangaroos, better yet, male kangaroos. Now I might have to reconsider my option.
They're huge. They're full of muscle. They're jacked up.
How tall are they when they're not standing on that?
6 feet or 6'5", depends how big they are. You know what I mean?
Wow.
They're pretty massive. Well, if you in the spare time, go check it out. Like they're massive. I think I sent a question to Mike Bergen and Ike Taylor. I think Ike Taylor said he'd go for Debo because he was on the ground and that was an advantage.
I think Ike might be on to something because if he's tired, you know, I might have a shot. But you talk about 2 male kangaroos are just as strong as Debo, and they're not winded.
Yeah. And they sit on the back of their tail. They kick with their feet. They rip your guts out. They're just aggressive. They're very aggressive, like you know, kind of like a lion kind of thing. They're very for their, you know, their you know, female partner, stuff like that. So I thought it's a hard question to answer. It really is a hard question. I just like how you said scoop and score on a kangaroo.
I feel like I can go ahead and get underneath them and scoop them real quick. But shoot, I might get kicked in the face.
Before we get out of here, I want to ask you one really good question. How does it, like, in a nutshell, how can you explain being a Pittsburgh Steel? Like, how proud do you feel to be a Steeler and what you've done for the Steelers and like leaving your legacy and as being a legend. What do you feel being a Pittsburgh Steeler?
I'm super thankful, super blessed. For me, Mark, all I ever wanted to do was play football. That was my dream growing up as a kid, and being able to do so for Pittsburgh, for that type of organization that has so much good history tied to it, was one blessing. But then continuing to add to that legacy and be a part of that was another blessing. I mean, it's unbelievable because the Steelers is an organization that is well known, that is recognizable, regardless of where you are. You can be here in America, as you talked about being there in Australia. You can be overseas in Germany. You can be in Mexico. That's an organization where it's recognizable, and people, gravitate to that because that organization is a sign of greatness because of the great players that came way before me. You know what I mean? With the great coaches, the guys in the 70s, all of those championship teams. Because, most people don't remember before the 70s title teams, Pittsburgh was inconsistent. It wasn't the juggernaut that they became. But because of what that group of guys were able to do in creating a foundation and a culture that we still have to this day, those guys are I feel like we should all be forever indebted to those guys. When you talk about Terry Bradshaw's of the world, me, Joe Green, the late great Franco, Donnie Shell, Mel Blunt, Lambert, all the list can go. LC, JT. Oh my goodness, it's Lynn Swan, Stallworth, right? Man, it's greats. So for me to be a part of that organization, man, I'm forever thankful, and I'm appreciated. I appreciate our fans, all the support, and I shared this with Pat P when he became a Steeler. I said, Pat, if you guys just start winning, the world is yours. It's like the world is yours, not just in Pittsburgh, but wherever it is you go. People recognize that and they show you love. Because one thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, we have a unique way of relating, being able to be relatable to whoever it is that's watching us, because we do things the way that most people do it, from the ground, getting your hands dirty, hardworking, not flamboyant, not, in a celebratory fashion. We do it, keep our mouth closed, and keep doing it again. Hardworking, right? The blue collar way. And majority of adults could relate to that. That's why there are so many kids that are Steeler fans, because their parents not directly forced them to be a Steeler fan, but that's all they see in their household. Because most hardworking people have that same mindset. Blue collar, got to get it from the muscle. I don't care about what comes with it, the glitz and the glamour and all that. I got to get it from the muscle. And that's how our organization was built. And that's what made it the way it is today. And, when you talk about the Dallas Cowboys of the world and the Raiders and some of these other organizations, no knock to them, but it's not the Steeler way. The Steeler way is the Steeler way. And our fans relate to that. And I think that's why we have such a large fan base.
Well, I got to say, man, dead set, just knowing you from the NFL Player podcast, I want to say a huge thank you to you, because you give us a real good insight, a great insight to Steeler Nation, to the Steelers. And you are doing tremendous work on your podcast and CBS, all these things, because you represent Pittsburgh. I've been there 3 times, and it took me, I think, 15 years to get there. When I first saw Heinz Field, I was blown away. I was like, holy smokes, I'm here. I saw the game Steelers versus Ravens 2016 with the Immaculate Extension was insane. We won that. It was crazy. So, and I grew up watching you guys play in the 2008 defense. It was so much fun. And we can always go back, and if we having a bad day or we're not feeling checked in, we put on a Super Bowl and we watch those highlights, and they're fantastic. So on behalf of Steeler Nation in Australia and all the guys in the chat, over 35, 40 people in the chat, I want to say one huge thank you to you. And I really do mean that. I think it's fantastic the way how you played as a Steeler, what you're doing now with Pat Peterson and informing people about football and stories and just I don't know, just talking football, man, just having good fun. So I think it's fantastic. And football's not going away. YouTube's not going away. You're close to like almost 50,000 subs. You deserve 100,000. You'll get there. So, man, it's been, and like Michael says, work, work, work. Like, and people really appreciate your time and for who you are as a Steel. And I'm sure if you walk past them, you give them maybe a high five or a fist bump, and a few moments of your time, because you've given me 45 minutes of your time. So I want to say thank you, Bmac. It's been fantastic. I'll watch this back because I'm a fan too. I'm like, let's go. Now I'm pumped up. Now I want to see. Now I want to see the Steelers go win the Super Bowl, man.
No question.
You know what I mean?
And the Super Bowl this year is in New Orleans, a great place for football. It's a great football hub. And, for our fans and the majority of our fans, I think the written rule when it comes to fandemonium, Mark, is this is the rule. If your favorite team in whatever sport it is, if your favorite team can win at least one championship in your lifetime that you could remember, you're not an infant, you're not a toddler, most fans would take that and run with it, right? I think that's the unwritten rule about fandemonium in regards to rooting for your favorite team. Most of our fans, if you're in your 30s, clearly in your 40s or your 50s, you've seen multiple, if you root for the Steelers, you've seen multiple titles. For our older fans, you're super spoiled. You know what I mean? So I'm just happy that there are a lot of people that really love the Steelers, got a chance to see the Steelers, hoist the Sticky Lombardi. And there are a lot of fans. If you talked about Cincinnati, think about for all the fans who've been cheering for Cincinnati their whole life.
None.
Never seen it. You know what I mean?
Never.
There's so many organizations that have never came close to winning Super Bowl, better yet playing in one. For our fan base, that's why our fan base is different, because most of our fans have seen a championship in their lifetime. You know what I mean? And for our older fans, they've been living a good life when it comes to cheering for football. So I'm just happy to be a part of that. As I stated earlier, in regards to the tweet, man, I rock with our fans a long way. And I know how emotional and loyal they are. And I appreciate that as well. And for you, like you said, we were able to get this done. I feel like in life, you're not doing anything in life if you're not helping other people. And if you're not being able to assist or be there for other people. I didn't know you personally, but you wanted me to come on. I wanted to come on. You know what I mean? Because at some point in time, I would love for someone to do the same thing for me in my podcast. And that's what I like about what I try to do in life, is help others. And it's not about giving money. It's all about time. Time is super important, because for you to take your time to interview me, for me to be on, we all committed to the same thing and helping each other and utilizing the platform to do so. So that's what life is about. Life ain't about just you getting all the glitz and glamours for yourself, but what are you doing to help other people so they can do the same thing to continue that same domino effect in regards to being successful. That's what we had in our locker room. We were a selfless group of guys that didn't mind helping each other. It didn't matter what position you played. It didn't matter if you was a threat, competition, or whatever the case may be. We all wanted to help each other, because at some point in time, your number was going to be called. And we need to make sure you're ready for your opportunity, so we can get to our opportunity, which is competing for championships. So that's what sports was for us when I was in the Steelers locker room, and that's what life is about for me. So, and I love talking ball as well. I know I told you, I had only 30 minutes. As you see, we went longer than that because I'm genuinely enjoying this opportunity, you know what I mean, that I have with you. So I appreciate the invite as well.
Hey man, we back you here 100%. That's why I saw that tweet. I was like, he doesn't, it just, don't worry about those blokes. Steel Nation backs you 100%. I really do enjoy your podcast out there with Pat P. I'm excited for another season with you guys over there. I do appreciate your time. Everyone in the chat has had a fantastic time too. So thank you, Bmac. I got to go back and watch like Super Bowl 43 or something. I got to see something now. Like I'm ready to, the way how you explain football and talk about football as a fan. And I think, other fans out there will see this and they'll be very hyped up and they see how close and passionate I think our fan base is from all around the world. And for you giving your time here to be on the podcast, it is truly, truly awesome. So thank you, Bmac, mate. You've been fantastic. You've been awesome. And yeah, thank you everyone who's out there, Steeler Nation. So Bmac is from All Things Covered. You guys probably seen his podcast. If you haven't seen it, you're the few people who haven't seen it on his podcast. All Things Covered on YouTube. They're going to have a great season. talking football, hopefully talking Steelers, that we get some wins and we got some new players. Like, who would have thought Wilson would have been there or Fields? I didn't expect that,
No
so,
question. Hey, man, the road to New Orleans will start in a few months. Let's get ready for the ride. Gas up the cars, baby. Let's get to New Orleans. Gas it up. Let's go.
Hey, thank you, Bmac, mate. I'll see you all later. As always, here we go, Steelers.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.
It's the Steelers. What isn't there about it? Studs everywhere. Man, I'll play punter if they want me to. Whatever coach tells me, I'll play. Man, I love football. I love to play the game of football. I'm ready to play football. And I'm happy to be here. Just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of this team. So I'm happy to be here. I love the game of football. I think it's an art. I think it should be played a certain way. And that's why I love to play the game. I just love football.